Welcome to the Eldeco Tool Spotlight, where we will be highlighting tools available to our employees. This tool spotlight will focus on wire stripping tools. There are many tools and practices that exist in our industry when it comes to wire stripping, and this tool spotlight will focus on the tools available through Eldeco and our preferred choices for our employees. Through research and trial and error, we know there is no silver bullet when it comes to wire stripping. We do know that razor blades and folding pocket knives are never okay. There are a number of different wire sizes we will run into and great options available for our use. During this video, we will cover the following wire sizes and the tools available for stripping those wires, including 10 to 24 gauge wire, which could be used for control wiring, receptacles, general lighting, and branch circuits. Number 8 to number 1 wire, found in heaters, appliances, sub-panels, and motors. 1/0 to 750 MCM, found in service entrance, feeders, and motors. And 1000 MCM, found in feeders. Let's look at 10 to 24 gauge wire. The best option here is a handheld wire stripper and cutter. This tool cuts, strips, loops, and gauges wire. It is precise, spring-loaded, and has easy-to-read wire gauge markings. Now let's see this tool in action. For number 8 to number 1 wire, the best tool available is the Greenlee 1903 cable stripping tool. This tool is compact, easy to keep in a tool bag, and provides triple action stripping such as rotary, linear, and spiral cutting. It has an adjustable blade to match insulation thickness, 2 cable guides to fit around multiple cable sizes, and a hook located on the cable guide to start jacket removal without the use of a screwdriver or pliers. Here is the Greenlee 1903 cable stripping tool. On the top of the tool, you'll notice the cable guide, the blade, and the blade depth adjuster. The first thing we will do is demonstrate how to change out the cable guides. On the side of the tool, there is a rubber flap that can be opened and an opening in the side of the tool with a metal silver piece seen inside. You will take the extra guide, place it into that opening, and push against the metal piece until you feel a click. Then simply slide the other guide out of the tool. Once you have the guide removed, just place the new guide into the top of the tool until you hear a click again. You can adjust the blade depth by simply turning the cap on top of the tool either clockwise or counterclockwise depending on the depth you need. You can compare the blade length to the insulation itself to make sure you have the proper depth for cutting. You can change out blades by simply removing the cable guide and unscrewing the cap all the way until you're able to remove the blade. On the bottom of the tool, there's a cap you can unscrew and a place to hold extra blades with the tool. We will now demonstrate a spiral cut, a linear cut, and a rotary cut with this tool. You will notice markings on the side of the tool, a vertical line for rotary cuts, a waving line for spiral cuts, and a horizontal line for linear cuts. Once you decide the type of cut you make, you just simply align the arrow on the handle with the appropriate marking and then turn clockwise to make your cut Unless it is a linear cut, then you simply slide the tool down the length of the wire. You can use the hook on the end of the cable guide to begin removing the insulation. And once it starts to remove, you can grab it by your hand and remove the rest of it from there. For 1/0 to 750 MCM, the primary choice is the Milwaukee M18 cable stripper. This tool protects against knife injuries, has a compact head that allows it to fit in tight spaces such as crowded panels and switch gears, a quick changing bushing system for faster stripping across sizes, a depth gauge that allows you to control how far you strip cable up to 3 inches in depth, and batteries interchangeable with our other power tools on the site. Here's the battery-operated Milwaukee cable stripper in its case. All the different bushing sizes color-coded by wire size. A battery charger, operator's manual, and a chart identifying bushing colors and wire sizes and insulation type. On the tool itself, it takes an M18 battery. There is a battery light indicating battery power, an LED light, a power trigger, control switches for forward and reverse operation, a bushing latch for attaching the bushings, depth gauge and depth gauge lock to adjust your proper depth of your cut and to lock it in place. Once you have identified the appropriate bushing and set your depth to the appropriate depth, you can now make your cut. The Milwaukee M18 cable stripper may not work in every situation. It could struggle to strip cable that has any irregularities in the thickness of the insulation. A good second option here is the Klein large cable die cutter. The device comes in 2 sizes. One die cutter covers 2/0 to 250 MCM cable, and the other covers 350 to 750 MCM cable. This device provides a quicker, safe, and more precise cut than a knife, and the blades can be replaced as they become worn.
I got the Klein tool, manual stripper, 500 MCM, which we got here. It will pass through, so you may want to set and put a marking on there or hold your hand. It will not cut your hand once you rest upon it. Set your depth, set your length of your cut the way you want it, and just let it do its thing. When you get to the depth you want, you can just let it rub against your hand, and then it strips it off fairly clean.
For 1000 MCM, you can use the Greenlee 1903 or the Southwire XT cable stripper. Here we will focus on the Southwire XT cable stripper. This tool has the capability of performing end and mid-span terminations, has an adjustable blade to match insulation thickness, a depth gauge for consistent, repeatable cuts up to 4 inches, and a safely enclosed blade to prevent cut injuries. Here is the Southwire XT cable stripper. On the top is a handle for adjusting your blade depth. On the side, you can adjust the depth of your cut. And on the bottom, there's a handle that allows you to adjust based off the size of your cable. Once you have your appropriate settings, set the tool on the end of the wire and turn clockwise until your cut is made. And finally, we will focus on the multi-conductor tray cable jackets. The top option here is the Jonard Tools Ratcheting Cable Slitter, which has fixed jaws and ratcheting feature to make it easy to grip and slit heavy-duty cables, an adjustable blade for cutting depths on insulation ranging from 0 to 5 millimeters thick, and it is much more difficult for employees to cut themselves.
Okay, this is the Jonard cable slitter tool. This blade is adjustable up to 5 millimeters. You start off by sizing up the thickness of your jacketed cable. This is a ratcheting tool. Once you have it sized up, apply a little pressure, and just ratchet up your cable. And then when you need to do a circumferential cut, you just turn it 90 degrees. Strip off the outer jacket without damaging the interior cables. We do know that when you got multiple cable tray cable coming in, you've got multiple 4 or 5 coming through a small area like a switchgear box or into a tap box, you may be able to go only partial way with partial cuts, but you'll still be able to get the longitudinal cut with this tool. Very safe, very simple, and easy to use.
A second option here is to use a fixed blade hawkbill knife, which has a hooked blade for cutting around the circumference of cable and a sharp, durable blade for scoring tray cable jacket. And that wraps up this tool spotlight. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to bringing you more videos like this in the future.